impacted not by the spillage of the excess water from the Ocansey Dam, but by the increasing water levels in the white volta, the black volta, and the red volta. Here's what's happening. Take a look at this. This is the Ghana map with the white volta, the red volta, and the black volta. We'll put it on the screen shortly. If you see this, the white volta flows from Burkina Faso into Ghana. And the Bakre Dam in Burkina Faso is also being spilled. We understand excess water from the Bakre Dam is being spilled as well. So we have the white volta flowing into Ghana, going into some parts of the northern region, Savannah region, the Bono East region, and other region areas as well that have been affected because of the rising water levels in the white volta and the rising water levels in the red volta as well, which joins the white volta in some parts of Ghana. And then the black volta as well, that joins all of them into the lake volta. So the communities along this white volta, the red volta, and the black volta have also been impacted by the rising water levels in these areas. I'm talking about the specific cases of the areas that have been affected as a result of the increasing water levels in the white volta, the red volta, and the black volta. But these are the areas we're talking about. The Savannah region, talking about the Bole district, that has been affected. Now, in the northern region, Kwandai district, some parts of Kwandai district have been affected, not by the spillage, but by the increasing water levels in these three, that's the black, white, and the red volta. And then in the Bono East region, the Sene East district, areas have been flooded. Sene West district, areas have been flooded. The Pro East district, areas have been flooded. Then we have in the Oti region, Kratchi East district, areas have been flooded. Kratchi West, Kratchi and Chumro district, these areas have also been experiencing flooding as we speak. So it's not just limited to the Volta region. Now, the Western North region as well, Bia East district, Bia West district, areas have been flooded. Then, if you look at the Eastern region, Afram Plains South district, Afram Plains North district, Esuchari is a town in the Shire of Sudoku district. All these areas in the Eastern region are experiencing flooding as we speak as a result of the increasing water levels in the white, black, and the red volta that all join into the Volta Lake. Not alone. In the Greater Accra region, Adan East district, Adan West district are also areas experiencing flooding like Azizanya and other island communities in these areas. And then you focus on what's happening in the Volta region as a result of the spillage of the excess water from the Ocansey Dam. That's where we talk about South Dai district. That's where we showed you the specific areas of North Tong district as well, heavily hit, and then Central Tong district as well. So that's how the picture looks like. And that's why many are calling on the president to consider a state of emergency because of the widespread nature of the impact of this flooding as a result of a number of instances across the country. We've counted 8 regions so far out of the 16 regions that have been impacted by the flooding due to the spillage of excess water from the Ocansey Dam and the increasing water levels in the white, the red, and the black volta. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, we still stay focused on this. Over 10,000 children, in fact, almost 11,000, have been displaced after the spillage of water from the Ocansey and the Bong dams in the lower Volta Basin. Schooling, education, livelihoods have been gravely affected. Child Rights International, they've been expressing concern about this. Now, we went to the Mepe community to assess the impact of the situation on especially children, how they're living. Take a look.
This is how most children whose families have been displaced by the floods endure the harsh conditions of the night. During the day, they engage in activities to keep them busy. Some wash their clothes as well. We are here because our house is flooded. We are begging government to get us a place. We no longer go to school because of the flood. I want to go to school. The uncertainty of when the spillage will end continues to linger on. The question is, what will be the fate of these children, and how will they recover the lost time for their education?
Well, that's how this is impacting on children, especially in this Mepe community, which we understand most parts of that area have been submerged under the flood waters and this expansive impact situation that we've been showing you so far. And taking a look at what's happening in all the other places that have been affected as well. For instance, the Asuchare in the Shai Osudoku district in the Greater Accra region and so many other places that we have seen. Now, let's go on to Zoom now. Dr. Kwabena Donko is the Member of Parliament for the Pru East constituency. That is in the Bono East region. And I showed you that the Bono East region has also, or is experiencing its fair share of the flooding as a result of the increasing water levels in the Black Volta and then the White Volta as well. He's a former Minister for Power. He's joining us. Thank you so much for connecting with us, Dr. Kwabena Donko. First off, your constituency in the Bono East region, I mean, let's understand this. Which areas have been hit by the flooding as we speak?
A number of areas, Butudeke, Brekente, Pentecost, Nsuano, Fantier Kura, about 10 communities in the constituency have been hit.
I see. But do you have any idea of how many persons have been displaced? I mean, I'm talking about the extent of the impact of this flooding.
Yeah, we're talking of at least about 1,000 people at a minimum. For some of the communities, the whole settlement has had to be moved, evacuated, particularly Butudeke, Fantier Kura, Tonka. The settlements have had to be totally evacuated. For others, half of the settlements have moved. And it is not just the human settlements. Remember, we are also an agrarian district, agricultural district. And virtually all the farmlands around the banks of the Volta have been submerged.
I see. But is this as a result of the White Volta or the Black Volta that goes through your that's district or the region, the Bono East?
Okay, there are 3 Voltas. There's a White Volta, there's the Red Volta, and then there was the Black Volta. Then you also have the tributaries, such as the Oti River, the Puru River. The Yeji part of the lake is the lake. So other than the Black Volta, all the 2 Voltas have swelled beyond their traditional boundaries and are feeding into the lake. Remember, we still have rivers and a lake. Not the whole of the Volta is a lake. There are the Black Volta is a river, the Red Volta is a river, the White Volta is a river. Then they merge into the lake. And so we are within the lake's catchment area. Fortunately for us, I said it today elsewhere, that as a people, as a nation, we went to sleep. This has not been a sudden occurrence. The spillage may be sudden, but the flooding of the Volta started 3 years ago. 3 years ago, the rains were higher than normal. And seasonally, when the Volta is full in terms of rainfall, during the off-rain season, it goes back to its normal container belt. But last year, because the rains were more, it didn't get back to its traditional container embankment. And therefore, this year, when heavy rains came again, it went way beyond its normal limits. And that is how the farms and the communities have been flooded. I believe if we had our eyes on the ball, especially VRA, and VRA has a legal responsibility by the VRA Act to manage the lake. So if we had our eyes on the ball, we would have seen this coming. And the spilling, which has affected the communities southwest of the dam, could have been controlled by starting the spilling earlier than the September 15th that they started. But for those of us north of the dam, our problem has been flooding caused by excessive rainfall.
I see, but you say that this could have been prevented. You are a former power minister. Who has to be held responsible for this preventable situation that has led to many persons being displaced as a result?
Well, the state has agencies responsible for our safety. The state has agencies responsible for emergency preparedness. And so all these agencies had gone to sleep. For example, in the northern regions or the northern part of the Volta, the flooding started as early as June, July. You see, if you look at the topography of the Volta, the reservoir gets filled to the brim. It is only when the reservoir gets filled to the brim and it becomes unsafe that VRA will spill. But in areas such as ours, northwest of the dam, the flooding has been taking place for more than a month. And no state agency had taken notice of that.
I see. But you see, I'm receiving, while we are talking now, Dr. Kwabena, a lot of messages about other areas that are being affected. Some of our viewers on Facebook are telling us that Angloga District, Keta Municipal, has also been affected by the floods. And these areas are expansive. In fact, we just touched on just a number of areas that we've got information across 8 regions. To the extent that what's caused this is rising water levels in the white, black, red Volta, the probability of it happening again is very high because this is natural. The water levels going up. So what should be the thinking going forward to ensure that this excess water, which is causing destruction now, is put to productive use in the coming years ahead of us?
Remember, in Ghana's 7-year development plan, there was the intention of developing massive irrigation of the Accra Plains. If that had been done, water from the Volta would have been channeled towards the Accra Plains for irrigation purposes. Again, we also had the opportunity of the Palugu Dam, which was meant to be a multi-purpose dam. Some water would have. So basically what we need to do is to utilize the Volta for agriculture. And by doing that, we'll be able to turn the flood waters into productive use. We have to link the management of the Volta with agriculture.
See, well, would you support the calls for a state of emergency to be declared in these areas that have been hit?
I'm surprised it has not even been declared. Yes, I support the call. State of emergency should be declared in areas of the northern region, in areas of Savannah, in areas of Oti, in areas of the eastern region, Biafran Plains, part of the eastern region, in areas of northern Volta, and then of course in the southern Volta beyond the dam, who are feeling the spillage effect. But for those of us north of the dam, ours is flooding of the volta, not just the spillage effect.
But so, as a member of parliament, beyond these interventions that are being put in place, what are you also going to do, or what are you doing to support these persons who have been impacted by the flooding in your constituency?
Very important that I appeal to organizations, individuals that have the capacity to come in and help. On my personal behalf this morning, I have released 50,000 CDs to NADMO to at least mitigate the suffering of the victims in my district. And I appeal to other organizations to help. They can channel this specifically through NADMO for the various regions and various districts. I'm disappointed that even in the communication of NADMO, the northern sector has totally been left out. It is as if only those suffering the spillage effect have been affected. But the bigger flooding has been north of the Akosombo Dam.
Very, very important point there. Very, very important.
Thank you very much for this, and really appreciate your time joining us here on Ghana Tonight. This is extremely important. We're also getting information that most of the northern part of Ghana is experiencing power outage now. Yusuf Abubakar is sending us a message that at least three, that's a northern region, Upper East, Upper West, all experiencing power outages. Thank you very much for this information, and we'll knock on the doors of Gridco and to get some information as to what exactly is happening, which has led to the power outages in the northern part of the country. Thank you very much. This is Ghana Tonight. Dr. Kobina Donko, appreciate your time. A former Power Minister, Member of Parliament for the Pro East constituency. Thank you for joining us here. But coming up next, the Executive Director of the National Cathedral Project, Dr. Paul Opoku-Mensah, is saying the National Cathedral Project has been implemented with integrity. That's his verdict. In a statement responding to issues raised by the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba, he said that several meetings have been taking place during the aftermath of the call for the audit. So, well, that's the Secretariat's verdict or their response to what the Venerable Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams and also Reverend Eastwood Anaba indicated yesterday, reason why they resigned. Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy is joining us right after this quick break for his perspective on matters arising with this National Cathedral. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Just na me ankasa me period na say problems wom. Ntina ma wo ho idea ma me. Papa just na nya asem ketewa. Na me kwan point no, mo hwe me modem no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro. Ma meduro me fire no. Ene ma won kra me enu. Foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba.
Head everything yourself.
Me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante. Ene ne ko end point. Oma ma nura ene ne ho eden a watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you.
Of Akrobato.
Hello.
Hey, Oshisho what chair?
Okay.
A free bra would the end point what dance. I'm a choir no. Me Joseph Sama name Koye and pass one of my embrain and imagine Sabema. Now me be here for the hard in Jarisa.
You heard everything. I have secret. End point is my secret. End point homeopathic clinic. I'm free.
Hello! Have you heard of the Franco air condition, specially made to fit the Ghanaian weather? It has authentic capabilities, which is the original sizes ranging from the 1.5 horsepower, 2.0 horsepower, and the 2.5 horsepower. So if you are looking for an air condition to fit your homes, offices, schools, hotels, apartments, churches, it's Franco Trading Enterprise. For bulk purchases, look no further than Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise, the home of quality air conditioning.
When you have the extra bit of ambition in your heart, you also need extra bit of energy to come through. And for that, Rush Energy is the perfect boost to get over the line. Created in the USA and proudly made in Ghana. Thanks to the unique formula, you have the power of ginseng, the benefit of vitamins and all the energy of inositol, taurine and caffeine. Anytime you need to go beyond, Rush Energy will help you get there.
This is Hot Issues, your passport to the most compelling conversations of our time. We go one-on-one with the movers and shakers, the thought leaders, and the game changers. We ask the questions that matter, and we don't back down.
Tonight on Hot Issues, I sit with the man at the Center of Corruption Investigations.
Join me on Hot Issues here on TV3.
Hot Issues, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news. Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. The Executive Director of the National Cathedral Project, Dr. Paul Opoku Mensah, is saying that the National Cathedral Project has been implemented with integrity. That's his verdict. In a statement responding to issues raised by the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba, said several meetings have been taking place during the aftermath of the call for the audit. Now, let's take a look at this. Per the extract of the letter that was issued in response to the resignation of these two venerable men of God. Take a look at this. This is what the Cathedral Secretariat said, that the board was constantly updated on the process through the chairman and the steering committee, as well as the executive director's report of the meeting of the board on June 5, 2023. They go on that following a number of delays due to documentation, it is now hoped that the audit will be completed soon to enable fundraising to restart in earnest. They continue that although the Archbishop Duncan Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba were not present at both the June 2023 and the September 2023 meetings, they and all the other board members who were not physically present at the meeting were sent copies of all the documents for the board meeting, including the executive director's report. The claim that they have received no information whatsoever on the audit process is therefore false. That's the verdict of the National Cathedral Secretariat's response to the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba. Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy is a leading member of the New Patriotic Party. He's a medical practitioner. He's joining us from the United States. Thank you so much, Dr. Arthur Kennedy, for connecting with us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, at the heart of this back and forth between these honorable persons who have resigned as Board of Trustee members of the National Cathedral and their response by the National Cathedral Secretariat is the question of accountability. Would you say that that question has been answered, the accountability on how public funds have been expended on this National Cathedral project? If you can unmute for me. Please unmute for me.
I am not muted.
Fantastic. I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. So, good evening to all your listeners and thanks for inviting me. In actual fact, accountability has certainly not been achieved, but it misses the point. This project was doomed right from the word go. And I say that with all due reverence to the Reverend Ministers, Archbishop Duncan Williams and Reverend Anaba, and even the others who have already resigned. I think that historically, conceptually, as well as implementationally, this thing had problems. Let's begin with the history. The idea that you're going to build a Bible museum in sub-Saharan Africa and it will attract people from all over the world is really a stunning misapprehension of history. For one thing, if somebody lives in Europe or North America and they want to see cathedrals and Bible museums, and they have a choice between Italy and Spain and England and France, who have notable cathedrals as well as histories of Christianity going back centuries, I don't see why that person would choose to come to sub-Saharan Africa to come and see a cathedral. It just isn't reasonable. And not only that, we have an example. In the 1990s, Ofuebuaye did a similar thing in the Ivory Coast. It cost them $300 million US. It had 3 times the capacity that we have, and it cost 1/3 less than ours is going to cost. So we should have known from that that thing would never sell. And secondly, I think that the reverend ministers who lent their good name to this thing meant well, but they were taken for a ride. Right from the beginning, the architectural drawings were awarded to somebody without any open bidding process. The person was paid an exorbitant sum. So in effect, as one of my friends who is a work says, not even God's cathedral was sacred enough from the thieving hands of those in this government. This was something that some people conceived of. They knew that Ghanaians are religious. If you put it before us, a lot of people will support it, and then on the side, people can do whatever they wanted to do. So I think the reverend, the men of God came to that realization a bit too late. But now that they've come by that realization, they shouldn't just wash their hands. They should mobilize their flocks and insist on accountability, so that the poor people of Ghana not be taken for a ride.
Now, if you look at the response to their resignation, the Secretariat describes the execution of this cathedral so far as done with integrity. Is this something that you would side with?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, first, the budget was supposed to be 100 million. It's now 400 million and counting, due to inflation that they themselves have been disputing. So that right there is the lie to the whole argument, you know. And the second thing is that we have people involved in this. The president initially said this thing will be built largely by private funds and that the government was only given the seed money. It sounds like the seed money was virtually all of the money. So right there is they misled the Ghanaian public. And not only that, when you look at the opportunity cost of what we could have done with this, I mean, imagine all these people at Kolebu who can get dialysis, how much dialysis 400 million will get. Look at our brethren in the Volta region who now are in crisis. How much can 400 million do for them? Let's look at the children who are going to school under trees. How much will 400 million do for them? So I think this is a stunning focus on somebody's ego, and it has really misserved the nation. This will serve as the signal project of the Nana Addo government and show how reckless they've been and how little they cared about public priorities.
I see. But if you look at the architectural and structural works, at least in the proposed 3D imagery that we've seen of this cathedral, you don't need any expert to tell you that this may not be completed before the end of 2024. What do you expect of whoever is going to take over from President Akufo-Addo about this particular project?
If the person is wise, he would abandon it, because this is sunk cost. That's what my economist friends tell me. And we should not throw good money after bad money. This money have been wasted, and the more money we put in this, the more wastage we will get. And if I had 400 million as president or minister of tourism, I would have used that money to improve tourism infrastructure, like build major hotels in the Cape Coast area, improve the Cape Coast Accra Road, rehabilitate places like Asebu Kwamankesti, where Asebu Amenfi and others have relics, go to places where the slaves used to take a bath, and then build a slavery museum in Accra. That is our niche. That is the kind of thing people from all over the world will come and see. And we would have made money from that. But I am telling you that everybody with common sense knows that no tourist will come all the way from Europe to come and see a Bible museum in sub-Saharan Africa. Why? Because we are God's children.
A very, very important point that you make there. There have been also calls for consideration, or because of the money that has been sunk in there, if we don't get the full answer to the question of accountability, causing financial loss to the state should be an area where also should be looked at to people being held accountable.
Yes, and if it is not looked at, I will be very disappointed. I think this thing is begging for accountability, and we should not allow the people of Ghana's hard-earned money to be looted and misappropriated stunningly by these people while urgent national priorities have gone unmet.
So the proponents of this national cathedral should be held for causing financial loss to the state?
Oh, absolutely. It is not just causing financial loss to the state, it is undermining our faith in the collective. That this thing has done lasting damage to the reputations of a lot of men of God. I mean, there are people among the board of directors of this cathedral who used to be known for the moniker Enyansafon, and you wonder where wisdom was when these decisions were being made and when they were lending their reputations to this enterprise.
They say that Deloitte, I mean, in the international audit firm, has been engaged, and that this question about the audit of the work of the cathedral has been done.
It hasn't been done. Where is the report? All what we're going to do is we're going to pay more money to people to come and do an audit about the worthless project. This hasn't been done, and everybody knows that. To begin with, it wasn't even supposed to be built with public funds. Now we destroyed accommodation for the judges and all that, and people are saying that the cathedral site, almost in a Pyrrhic way, looks like a Galamsey site.
Will this cathedral be completed by 2024?
No, it will not. No, it will never be completed. This cathedral will never be completed. It cannot be completed before this president leaves office, and whoever takes over from him, if that person is wise, it will be one of the first projects he would cancel. I mean, that whatever is left of that 400 million will go to completion of places like Seglemi and other public housing projects that are undone, as well as providing dialysis for the poor who can get it at Kolebu, etc., and helping education. No president who is not bewitched will continue this project.
But the president is very well convinced about this project, Dr. Kennedy.
He's been convinced about a lot of things. I mean, there was a time when he was transforming our economy. He was convinced about protecting the public purse. He was convinced that we'll never go to the IMF again. So the fact that this president is convinced about something is actually the reason why we shouldn't be convinced about it.
You don't align with the president's conviction
No, I don't. And actually, his government has done quite a few bad things, but this is the worst of the worst.
The National Cathedral is the worst of the worst?
Oh, absolutely. It is a stunning misappropriation of public resources in the face of glaring needs, when God himself says he does not dwell any longer in temples, but in our hearts. And the same Bible says, whatever you do to the least of these, that you do unto me. We have used those resources to do unto the least of these, and another would have been blessed by God.
What do you expect of Parliament in demanding this accountability that we're asking for?
I'm actually surprised they did. I hope they follow through. It's about time they start doing some work. And once they've started on this, maybe they'll continue with accountability about the COVID money and accountability about all the loans and about accountability about the Frontiers Health Airport scandal. There are a lot of accountability things they can do. So go forward, Parliament.
Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy, I thank you so much for joining us with your thoughts on this matter. As always, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy is a leading member of the New Patriotic Party and then also a medical practitioner, joining us live from the United States with his thoughts on this National Cathedral. The number of you are reacting to the very, very important issues that he raises there and the call of Parliament as well to do the needful. This is an issue that is evolving. And so in the coming days, we will definitely stay the steam on it. But thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. On behalf of the rest of the team, we appreciate your company, as always. Join us same time tomorrow. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.